A woman, widowed shortly after marrying, remained steadfast, devoted to honoring her late husband's memory and caring for her in-laws. Embodying the true spirit of a dutiful daughter, the elder couple, touched by her unwavering loyalty, intended to bequeath their estate to her. But would her inheritance be a peaceful transition, or would it ignite a storm of resentment amongst her husband's siblings, stirring up long-simmering family tensions and sparking bitter disputes? As the saying goes, heaven sees all, and justice, though sometimes delayed, will always find its way. Are you ready to witness this unfold? Welcome back, dear listeners, to Mysterious Ghost Stories, your haven for the uncanny and unexplained. Here, we gather to share spine-chilling, real-life paranormal encounters sent in by listeners from every corner of the land. If you enjoyed this eerie and thrilling tale, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any other chilling ghost stories from across the country. And feel free to share the video if you'd like your friends to experience the suspense and goosebumps as well. Tonight, we delve into a story penned by Thien from the verdant lands of Tianjiang. A tale that unfolded long ago, right in his own neighborhood. In Thien's close-knit community, there resided a family of considerable wealth, headed by a couple who had been blessed with 10 children. Alas, due to the hardships of those times, only 6 survived to adulthood: Ba, Tu, Sao, Bei, Chin, and Oot. In due course, the children of Mr. and Mrs. Tam each married and established their own homes. Whether son or daughter, Mr. and Mrs. Tam provided each with land and capital to start their lives, ensuring that all were reasonably prosperous. Then, in 2002, Oot, the youngest, married a woman named Nhu from Society Trang. She was of Khmer descent. Oot had been invited by a friend to Society Trang, and during that visit, he met, fell in love with, and eventually married Nhu. Despite her Khmer heritage, Nhu had striking fair skin, making her ethnicity less obvious. Yet, at the time, her background was a topic of discussion throughout the community, a fact largely due to the circumstances surrounding the wedding. We must remember that transportation wasn't as convenient as it is today. Traveling from Tianjiang to Society Trang was no small feat. When Oot told his family about Nhu, explaining he wanted to marry her, his family arranged a formal visit to her home to ask for her hand in marriage. This visit sparked conflict within Oot's family. Mr. and Mrs. Tam were generally agreeable if Oot loved her. They were happy. However, Oot's siblings, especially Ba, vehemently opposed the union. Ba's words were cutting. That girl's family is dirt poor. Their house barely has room to sit. Her younger siblings are filthy and unkempt. She'll come here and devour everything, sending it all back to her old mother. And she's Khmer, no less. It's disheartening. But in those days, prejudice against ethnic minorities was rampant. Almost all of Oot's siblings voiced their objections, save for Bei, who supported her brother. Bei wisely advised, "If Oot loves her, let him be. Don't look down on people. They may be poor, but their manners and conduct are refined. They're good people." Despite the family's heated arguments, Oot stood firm and married Nhu. He declared, "I'm marrying her for myself, not for you. If Mr. and Mrs. Tam don't object, you have no right to interfere. If you make her life difficult, you'll have me to answer to." He vowed not to let anyone mistreat his wife. Nhu proved to be an exceptional wife and daughter-in-law. She managed the household meticulously, earning praise from everyone. Mr. and Mrs. Tam felt blessed to have her. She was beautiful, kind, and capable, qualities that explained Ute's determination to marry her. Now, everyone understood his unwavering commitment. The couple enjoyed a period of happiness, but it was short-lived. After a year of marriage, Nhu hadn't conceived, and Ute discovered he had cancer. The family spent a fortune on his treatment, but tragically, he succumbed to the illness. With Ute's passing, sorrow enveloped the household. Nhu mourned not only her husband's death but also the cruel whispers that began to circulate. The siblings, Ba, Tu, Sao, and Shin, started to spread malicious rumors, hinting that Nhu brought misfortune, that she was responsible for Ute's death. He was healthy, then suddenly he's sick and dies after marrying her. She's cursed, a barren woman, a year and still no child. If she had given Ute a child, things would have been different. Of course, these accusations were made behind her back, whispered to neighbors who then relayed them to Nhu. Nhu would say, "Let them talk, as long as Mr. and Mrs. Tam love me. That's all that matters." One day, Mrs. Tam visited a neighbor and lamented, "Poor Nhu, so young and already a widow, with no children to bind her. If she wants to remarry, we'll understand." But Nhu had vowed. During Ute's final moments, he asked me to care for Mr. and Mrs. Tam. "I'll honor his wish. I'll stay here until they pass away. I won't remarry. Ute was my only husband." She continued, "As long as Mr. and Mrs. Tam want me here, I won't leave," and she kept her promise. For 10 years, she lived with and cared for Mr. and Mrs. Tam, attending to their every need. When they were ill and bedridden, she took care of them single-handedly. Nurses assumed she was their biological daughter. Among the children, only Bae helped Nhu care for their parents. The others found excuses to avoid their responsibilities, claiming they were too busy with their own families. Nhu and Bae bore the burden alone. After Mr. Tam passed away, Mrs. Tam confided in her neighbors. "Nhu, though only a daughter-in-law, is more devoted than my own children. I've long considered her my own daughter. Now that Mr. Tam is gone, after I pass, all the property, the land, the house, it will all go to Nhu." According to her, the inheritance should have gone to Ute, but as he was gone, it was only right that his wife, Nhu, should receive it. The whole neighborhood knew of Mrs. Tam's intentions. But, upon Mrs. Tam's death, trouble began to brew. The siblings contested the inheritance, demanding that Nhu return to her village, leaving the house and land to them. They argued, "She has no right to inherit anything. If Ute had a child, the grandchild would inherit, but Nhu is a stranger. Why should she benefit?" Only Bae defended Nhu, stating, "Nhu is a lawfully wedded wife, and for 10 years, she cared for Mr. and Mrs. Tam. She deserves the inheritance. Where were you when they were sick? Now that they're gone, you come crawling back for the money." However, Bae's voice was drowned out by the others. One day, the family gathered at the house to settle the matter. The entire neighborhood was abuzz, eager to witness the drama. Thien also went, pretending to visit Bae, but really, he was there to eavesdrop. He could only catch snippets of the conversation, but it was clear they were trying to force Nhu out to claim the inheritance. Finally, Nhu relented. "I only ask for 5 kong of land to live on. Take the rest, divide it as you wish. I don't want it." I only ask to stay in this house to honor Mr. and Mrs. Tam and Oot." The siblings, too, Sao and Chin, agreed, but Ba refused, demanding everything. "The house is big, not a shack. Why should she get anything? 5 Kong is too much." In short, she wanted Nhu to leave empty-handed. Suddenly, Bei screamed, calling for water to extinguish a fire. The ancestral altar was ablaze. Thien, along with others, rushed over. On the altar, the 3 incense burners were engulfed in flames. Thien wasn't sure if it was his imagination, but he thought he saw the faces of Mr. and Mrs. Tam in the flames. Looking furious, when he asked others, they claimed they saw nothing. The fire was put out, and Bei cried, "You're evil. That's why our parents are angry and set the incense burners on fire. You all have plenty. Why are you here fighting with your younger sibling? You didn't care for them when they were sick. Now you come back for the money." Chin retorted, "It's our parents' legacy. Their hard work. If you don't want it, we'll take it. Don't preach to us." The incense burner fell over. "That's all. Don't try to scare us with ghosts. I'm telling you, Oot's wife has no right to be here. If she doesn't leave, I'll take her to court." One by one, they left, leaving Bei to comfort Nhu. Eventually, they did take Nhu to court. Predictably, the court ruled against her. Firstly, Mr. and Mrs. Tam hadn't left a will, meaning the inheritance would be divided equally among their direct descendants. Secondly, Oot had passed away before his parents, so Nhu wasn't entitled to any share. Moreover, she and Oot hadn't registered their marriage, so legally, she had no connection to the family. Thien only knew this from hearsay. He wasn't well versed in the law. In the end, the court ruled that the property be divided among the siblings. Nhu received nothing. She had to leave with nothing. Bei was furious but powerless. She took her share of the inheritance, sold it, and gave the money to Nhu as startup capital. Nhu initially refused, but Bei insisted. As for how they divided the remaining inheritance, Thien didn't know. He only knew that Nhu returned to her village. The house was taken over by No, Ba's son. No was 25 and newly married, so Ba insisted on claiming the house for him. Each of the other siblings received a sizable piece of land. Before leaving, Nhu said, "When I came here as a bride, you all criticized me. I didn't care. Oot died, and you blamed me for his death. I ignored it. I loved Mr. and Mrs. Tam and fulfilled my duty as a daughter-in-law, honoring my promise to Oot. I didn't want any wealth. I only wanted to stay here and honor them. But you pushed me to the edge. You only care about money. Sooner or later, heaven will punish you. People you harm may not die, but those heaven harms are finished." Ba then started to spread rumors, telling the neighbors that Nhu wasn't leaving empty-handed. "We only took back the house and land. We didn't take her money or gold. We didn't ask for the wedding gifts back. What more does she want?" Hai, Thien's mother, despised Ba. She would retort, "Wedding gifts are given to the bride. Did she beg for them? You're only saying that because you couldn't ask for them back. If you could, you would have." At that, Ba would glare at Hai and leave. Hai would say, "If she argued with me, I'd give her a piece of my mind. I'm not afraid of her." Everyone in the neighborhood cursed the siblings, except for Bei, who was kind. The others only cared about money. In truth, they didn't bother the neighbors. But living in the same community, everyone witnessed how they treated their family, how they treated each other. They saw for themselves. They didn't need anyone to tell them. Bay mentioned that when Nhu left, she took Ut's portrait and the 3 incense sticks from the altar with her. When Bay visited Nhu, she found that Nhu had built a small house next to her mother's house and set up an altar to honor Ut. Nu's parents were gentle and kind, never blaming or scolding her. They were happy to have her back. Nhu would say, "Heaven is watching. Those who treat us badly will face the consequences." After that, Ba's family, along with Tu, Sao, and Chin, started to experience a series of misfortunes. First, there was No, Ba's son. As mentioned, No and his wife moved into the house. No tilled the fields, and his wife, T, gathered coconut leaves to make brooms. But misfortune struck. One day, No was walking across a rickety bamboo bridge when it flipped over. He fell, and his hand struck the bridge, somehow breaking his arm. Thien knew that the bridge was made from a massive eucalyptus tree. So how could it possibly flip? When asked, No insisted that the bridge had turned. He couldn't explain how such a large bridge could flip. He added that when he fell into the water, he broke his arm and struggled to stay afloat. He felt as if someone was grabbing his leg, pulling him down. The canal was deep, and he nearly drowned. Luckily, someone saw him and pulled him out. Then, there was T, No's wife. T, a local woman, made brooms. Ever since she was young, everyone praised T's brooms for being beautiful and sturdy, lasting a long time. Thien's family often bought brooms from T, and they were indeed excellent. But then, someone ordered 10 brooms. It took her days to finish them. That night, she gathered them in one place, ready to deliver them in the morning. But to her dismay, the brooms had fallen apart. It wasn't that the binding had broken, but the coconut strands had come loose. So she had to start over. And it didn't stop there. After working for days to remake the 10 brooms, they fell apart again just as she was about to deliver them. T told Du, a neighbor, about her misfortune. She said, "I wonder if ghosts are messing with me. How can brooms that are tied so well, brooms that last for years, suddenly fall apart overnight?" Du replied, "You have an ancestral altar. How can ghosts get in?" T responded, "Yes, but ever since I moved in, I haven't been sleeping well. At night, I often hear footsteps coming and going. But when I go out to check, there's no one there." One night, she was tired and went to bed early. Just as she was drifting off, she heard the door open and someone walk in. She assumed it was No, but he didn't climb into bed. She turned to look and saw a dark figure standing over her. Before she could scream, the figure pounced on her, paralyzing her. Her throat was constricted, making it difficult to breathe, and she heard a wheezing sound, like someone snoring, in her ear. Fortunately, No walked in at that moment. As soon as he entered, the dark figure vanished. T sat up, gasping for air, and told No what had happened. No said she was probably just tired and having a nightmare. He didn't believe in ghosts. But T said that No worked all day, leaving her alone in the house. She constantly felt cold chills running down her spine, as if someone was standing behind her, staring at her. But when she turned around, there was nothing there, and many times, she saw the hammock swaying by itself, even though there was no one in it. Here's the translation and rewrite, focusing on expanding details and adding depth while maintaining the original structure. Someone had been sitting on it, but of course, No wasn't about to be told any of that. They were afraid he'd just scoff and call it superstition, the kind of thing he wouldn't give a second thought. It was about a week later that Ba, the third sister, started spreading rumors like wildfire through the neighborhood. She was going on about how Niu, who seemed so sweet on the surface, was anything but. According to Ba, Niu was a venomous snake, pure evil. Before she left the house, she'd cursed it, cast some kind of dark spell. That was why No had fallen and nearly died, breaking his arm. It was the reason the house was plagued with bad luck, like how the brooms kept breaking for no reason, or how T, the little one, kept seeing ghosts at night, scared half to death. When pressed for details, Ba claimed she'd seen how unlucky No and his wife were and had gone to a fortune teller. The teller said the house was cursed, a Khmer curse specifically. The sorcerer told her where the charm was hidden, under the incense burner. Ba went home and, sure enough, she found a charm hidden right where he said it would be. Circling back, the family thought that Niu was the only one capable of it. Truth be told, no one knew for sure what had happened, but Ba was so dramatic when she put the blame on Nhu, spreading the story everywhere she went. Some people were unsympathetic, even hostile, and openly voiced their disagreements. Most people were disgusted and said that if they were the ones who were cursed, they'd have given her a reason to cast the curse. She was lucky they just kicked her out and that they weren't worse. People gossiped, wondering what was wrong with Ba. Wasn't she aware that the thing people feared most was being talked about? Because one way or another, some would believe the rumors, while some wouldn't. But Ba went so far in her lies and exaggerations that people started to turn against her. It was as if just gossiping in the neighborhood wasn't enough for her. But how could it be when she was being openly opposed? So she enlisted Sao, the sixth sister. The two of them went to Niu's place and verbally assaulted her, leaving nothing unsaid. This whole saga was narrated by Bai, the fifth sister. Bai said that Niu had called her, crying, asking what was going on, why Ba and Sao were screaming at her. They were accusing her of sorcery and casting dark spells. Bai told Nian everything. Niu swore she had never practiced any kind of dark magic, that she had never harmed anyone in that family. She said that Ba showing up and screaming at her had triggered a heart attack in her father, who had to be hospitalized. Bai comforted her, telling her that she knew Ba's nature, her violent and unreasonable temperament. A week later, Bai called to check in, only to learn that Niu's father hadn't made it. Bai took a bus down to attend the funeral. After that, nothing strange happened at No's house. T said she didn't see any ghosts, and No and his wife felt more secure. But a year later, trouble began anew. This time, it was Ba who was afflicted. According to Ba, they were sitting down for dinner when she clutched her chest, complaining about difficulty breathing. As she went to take her medicine, she suddenly screamed and collapsed. Her husband ran to her side and saw blood pouring from her nose and mouth. He was so horrified that he ran and called the neighbors to help him take Ba to the hospital. The doctors managed to stabilize her, but she was paralyzed, confined to her bed. She needed assistance with eating and even the most basic daily tasks. Her mouth was twisted to one side, and she couldn't speak. Next, it was Sao's turn. 2 months after Ba's illness, Sao suffered the exact same fate. She was watching TV with the family when she suddenly collapsed, blood gushing from her nose and mouth. They rushed her to the hospital, where she, too, was saved. but she was left paralyzed with a twisted mouth just like Ba. With time, they were able to treat the two sisters to a certain extent. They were able to mutter a few words, but they slurred. They were able to take a few steps with assistance. However, they required assistance with everything. At the time, Ba was 54 and Sao was 47. Ba and Sao's husbands were close brothers and had always been close. At first, they were very concerned about their wives and took care of them. However, as time passed, they neglected them more and more. Eventually becoming apathetic, they would go out for drinks with hostesses and would cheat on them constantly. Everyone in the neighborhood knew what was going on. The children of the two men knew as well, but there was nothing they could do. Their husbands would come home and take money to give to their mistresses. Though the two wives were ill and couldn't speak well, they were aware of what was going on. Ba's daughter-in-law, Lin, told the story with much pity. She would say that her father would disappear for 3 or 4 days at a time. When he returned, Lin would confront him. She would ask him where he had been for the past few days. He would say that it wasn't her business. Lin would tell him that she knew everything, that she knew what he was doing outside, and that he should stop. She'd mentioned that he was getting older and that his mother was sick in bed. That he should stop because the neighbors were laughing at him. This was the original statement from Lin's wife. He was not interested in listening. Instead, he'd shower, change into nice clothes, and go out again. Lin knew that he was coming back only because he had run out of money and needed to steal more. The two would begin to argue. Ba would say that Ba was sick in bed and unable to work. That he was a man and he needed to go out, and that he couldn't stay home all day, so long as he didn't leave her for good. The two would argue for a bit, and then Ba would walk out, passing right in front of Ba without even a single glance. While the two were arguing, Lin's wife would be sitting next to Ba, massaging her arms and legs. When Ba left, Ba would follow him with her eyes and start to cry, mumbling as if she wanted to call him back, but she couldn't get the words out. The story doesn't end there. The next victim was two. The fourth brother, besides working in the fields, he also drove a tractor, plowing for others. One day, he was driving on a boggy field when the tractor flipped, pinning his leg. Fortunately, it only pinned one leg, but it crushed his right leg to the point where it had to be amputated. 6 months after his leg was amputated, Tu's wife left home. She took all her money, jewelry, and gold with her. She called her family, who said that she hadn't come home. They didn't know where she went. After that, they heard that she had run off with some man to the city. After some time, she came back and signed the divorce papers with Tu. Next was Chin. He owned a Burger Picard, a breed known for being fierce and protective, primarily raised as guard dogs. Just passing by the house and hearing it bark was enough to send shivers down your spine. Normally, only Chin and his wife could approach the dog. Ong Chin was obsessed with cockfighting. He had a great rooster. It was said that it had won 9 or 10 fights. Every day, he would keep it in a cage, then bring it out to bathe it and otherwise pamper it. Usually, the dog was chained up. That day, however, it somehow broke free and went straight for the rooster cage, broke it open, and bit the rooster to death. The couple came home from the market to see the dog lying there, munching on the rooster. Chin gritted his teeth and said, "You dare bite my rooster? I'll beat you to death." The dog was of a fierce breed, and Chin was clearly furious. But his wife was concerned about what he would do. She was not able to stop him from grabbing a piece of wood nearby and hitting the dog. However, the wood did nothing but anger the dog. The dog pounced on Chin and mauled him. His wife screamed for help, and neighbors came running. Everyone tried to pull the dog off him, but they couldn't. Eventually, they had to use a metal rod to beat it to death before it would stop biting Chin. By this time, he was covered in blood. His face was scratched, and his clothes were torn to shreds. They rushed him to the hospital. He was very lucky they had stopped the dog in time. If it had continued for much longer, it would have torn him to pieces. He had to get over 100 stitches and shots. It cost a lot of money. Then, the next two victims were Ba and Sao. These two often went out drinking and having fun together. One night, they were driving home from drinking somewhere. It's not clear where they were coming from, but both were hammered. They crashed into a coconut tree, but no one knew how. The car was totaled, and they were a mess. 2. Their arms, legs, and faces were scratched up. Luckily, they didn't have any head trauma. They were so drunk that they just fell where they were and slept. People passing by saw the accident and the two lying there. Assuming they were dead, they called traffic police. When they arrived, they discovered the two were still alive and took them to the hospital. Sao said that he was drunk that night, but he could still see the road home. He was driving, with Ba in the passenger seat. He said that while he was driving, he saw a girl standing in the middle of the road, covering her face. He honked the horn, but the girl just stood there. As he got closer, she looked up. Her face was covered in blood. Scared, he swerved to the side, crashing into the coconut tree. People said he must have been drunk and hallucinating. People drive by there all the time. No one's ever seen a ghost. He was probably just drunk and lost control of the car. Leading to the accident, he was probably just saying that to save face. Returning to the cycle of misfortune, it was No's turn. The son of Ba, No had saved up to buy a boat to transport rice for others. One day, he was driving the boat, full of rice, to the mill to dry the rice for his clients when he crashed into a boat transporting sand, gravel, and cement. Both boats sank. All the rice was lost. Along with the sand, gravel, and cement, No had to compensate the owner of the other boat, as well as losing his rice. Fortunately, no one was killed, otherwise, he would have been sent to prison. He explained that the rice boat couldn't go that fast, especially when it was full. He was an experienced driver, but that day, he saw that his boat was drifting to the side of the other boat. But he couldn't steer the boat to avoid it. The steering was stuck, completely unresponsive. When the two boats were about to collide, he tried to turn off the engine, but he couldn't. He said he was calm as he attempted to solve the issue. But for some reason, the engine would not turn off. He ended up crashing into the other boat. 2 was also having troubles. 2 had a 20-year-old daughter, Han, and a 17-year-old son. His daughter was dating someone, and the boy's family had planned to ask for her hand in marriage. But they saw that 2's wife had abandoned the family, and they worried that their son's girlfriend would become like her mother. The couple then ran away to the city. After some time, they heard that the girl was pregnant, and the boy had found someone else. She ended up having an abortion. This information came from a friend of hers. It's unknown how true it is, but the boy was never seen again. 2's son was misbehaving and skipping school, and would always be caught drinking. One day, he was caught using drugs and was sent to rehab for 6 months. In that period, everything seemed to go wrong for the families of Ba, Tu, Sao, and Shin. There were many problems: health, business, and more. People noticed that Bai's family, on the other hand, had no problems at all. Not only did they have no problems, but they were thriving. They made money with everything they did. They were already well off, and now they were rich. While talking, people mentioned that the misfortunes were due to karma, to treating people poorly, so God was punishing them. Bai, on the other hand, was living virtuously, so God was protecting her. Ba and Sao had been terrible gossips. Now they were paralyzed and unable to speak. Bai felt sympathy for her siblings, so she went to see a fortune teller. She said she wasn't expecting anything, but she went anyway. The fortune teller asked if there had been bad luck for the family for the past few years. Health, money, family, everything, except for Bai's family, who was doing fine. The fortune teller said that this wasn't accidental, that someone had harmed them. He asked if they had offended a woman in her 30s, who was fair-skinned, with slightly wavy hair and a gentle face, but who, for some reason, had practiced dark magic that was harming them deeply. He said that if they didn't stop it, the four families would lose everything they had. He was asked if there was a way to resolve it. He said no. The magic was strong. To stop it, they had to find the woman, because he couldn't break it. Bai said she didn't know who to find. The fortune teller repeated his description. She tried to recall if anyone in her family had offended someone like that. He said that they must have done something to her, or she wouldn't have taken such extreme measures. He sensed that the woman was kind and not malicious, but he didn't know why she was doing this. Bai said that the most likely person was Niu, but she didn't dare ask her directly. She wasn't going to call and ask, "Did you put a curse on my family?" It was too weird. When Ba and Sao had accused Niu of practicing dark magic, Niu had called her, crying. Bai was uncertain, but she decided to take a bus to Niu's house. After some small talk, Bai carefully explained what the fortune teller had said. But before Bai could finish, Niu admitted that it was true, that she was the one who had cast the spells. Bai was surprised. Niu said that she hadn't wanted to do it, but they had forced her to. She added that, when she first arrived, she didn't have any desire to seek revenge. But then Ba and Sao came and accused her, causing her father to have a heart attack and die. Since then, she had harbored a desire for revenge. She had learned dark magic to curse them. She said that she wanted to see them suffer and see their families destroyed. Since Bai had treated her kindly, she hadn't cursed her. Niu also said that Bai had a great aptitude for being a shaman. Before marrying Ut, she had followed a shaman. She had learned the magic of her people. She knew it, but she had never used it. Even Ut didn't know that she knew magic. When she came to the family, she didn't want to continue it, but she was pushed too far. So she decided to learn the magic again. The magic was very powerful. Once it was cast, it was hard to break. Only she could undo it. No other shaman could break it. Bai begged Niu to stop. Bai kneeled down and begged. Eventually, Niu agreed, but on one condition. Bai had to go back and ask her family if anyone knew who had planted the first curse under the incense burner. And the person that did it had to admit to their act so that Niu could be cleared of all accusations. Bai went home and invited all her siblings to a meeting. She explained everything, and asked for whoever had planted the curse to come forward, and that she would help them. After a lot of convincing, Chin admitted that he had done it. He said that he and Ba had fought over the house, which Ba had wanted for no, while he had wanted to sell it for money. Eventually, he had lost the battle, so he cursed the house. He had even done it with Khmer magic so that, if he were caught, people would blame Niu. Bai called Niu and told her everything. She begged Niu to stop, and Niu said that she would. From that point on, Ba and Sao's health improved, but only by about 30 or 40%. They didn't return to what they were before. They stopped having bad luck, and their business became easier. Although they didn't have bad luck, it was believed that their karma would always weigh them down. Their business remained stable, but it didn't make any significant money or significant loss. Just enough to eat. They never became rich like Bai. And that is the ending of the story. Niu remained in her hometown to this day, and there was no more news of her. This is the story that Thien sent for our listening. That's why the story says that karma isn't completely determined by God, but can come from people's actions. It's also a matter of fate. You see, it's like if we punch someone. They might tolerate it the first time, maybe even the second or third, but the more they endure our blows, the more likely they're to eventually strike back. That's karma, a form of retribution. Even though a person carries out that retribution, it's still fate, the law of cause and effect, predetermined by the heavens. You reap what you sow. Plain and simple. Fortunately, this story comes to us through Mr. Thien, a neighbor from the community. His perspective as an impartial observer lends credibility to the narrative. If it were told from the side of Ms. Nhu, we might have reason to question its objectivity, needing to sift through biases and hidden motives. But Mr. Thien, just a regular neighbor, views the situation with an unbiased eye. He sees right from wrong, lays out the story as he perceives it, and that, my friends, makes all the difference. Now, what do you, the audience, think? Thank you for following this tale, and a special thank you to Mr. Thien for sharing such a mysterious and compelling story. I wish you all a good night's sleep, filled with peaceful dreams. May you find solace in reflection and wisdom in understanding the intricate dance of cause and effect that governs our lives. And may the lessons learned from this story guide your actions towards compassion and empathy. If you enjoyed this eerie and thrilling tale, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any other chilling ghost stories from across the country. And feel free to share the video if you'd like your friends to experience the suspense and goosebumps as well. Once again, thank you for being here with Mysterious Ghost Stories. Wishing you all a peaceful night and good health. See you in the next story.